In Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, we were introduced to 32 Gigantamax forms between the base games and the Isle of Armor DLC. 6 of those forms were for starter Pokemon, specifically the Gen 1 and Gen 8 starters. So what if more starter Pokemon got Gigantamax forms? Let's find out. Hey everyone, Brandon here. So Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet are fastly approaching, which means we are also approaching the official end of Generation 8, and with it, its gimmick, Dynamax and Gigantamax. While I know it's pretty broken competitively, the designs of Gigantamax forms are some of the coolest in the franchise. So as a sort of send-off to Gen 8 and this gimmick, I thought it would be fun to take a look at a sort of what if. Like, what if we had gotten more GMAX forms in the Isle of Armor, or some added to the Crown Tundra? Maybe if we had gotten a third title like Pokemon Gun. Or if Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl had followed in the footsteps of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire and actually added the gimmick of that generation, instead of being a buggy, lifeless husk of a remastered slow game. I said what I said. So today we're going to take a look at some starter GMAX forms by PokeJamon and Elite 4 over on Instagram. And later on this month, we'll take a look at some more general GMAX forms. Anyway, let's get started with the Sinnoh starters. This is an example of what if BDSP had incorporated Dynamax into it somehow. I know Dynamax is exclusive to Galar because of Eternatus, but maybe this could have been an alternate universe situation similar to how they handled Mega Evolutions with Oris. So starting us off is Gigantamax Torterra, and my goodness, would you look at this thing? Torterra has become a full planet. This plays into its inspiration of the world turtle, but taken quite literally. It is a turtle world, and we're just living in it, apparently. We all live in a turtle world. I want to be the greatest turtle of them all. Anyway, design-wise, this thing is just so epic. The sense of grandeur you get from this thing is unmatched. I mean, it is perfect for a Gigantamax form. You have the sense of scale of a planet, which fits in with Gigantamax very well. You have the ring going around it, which is similar to Saturn, and on that ring and surrounding it, which has its own orbit, by the way. But in its orbit are Minior and some little bits of asteroid or pieces of Earth or something like that are now circling it. I am curious where on the globe this is supposed to replicate, or if this is supposed to replicate the Pokemon world, or what it's trying to replicate there, or if anything at all. Maybe it's just its own original Torterra planet. But this gives me everything I would have wanted out of a Gigantamax Torterra form. Next up, we have Gigantamax and Fernape, and it's playing so much into that Sun Wukong or Sun Goku inspiration by giving it this giant fiery cloud similar to Cinderace's giant fireball. The cloud is meant to reference Sun Wukong's cloud, Somersault, or Flying Nimbus as it's more commonly known, which is just genius. I love that they play more heavily into their design inspirations like they did with Torterra and they do with spoilers Empoleon, and I love playing more heavily into its design inspiration. I mean, it's even given it more armor, which a lot of depictions of Sun Wukong or Sun Goku have that more heavily armored appearance. A detail that I find kind of funny is that it has this belt-like protrusion coming out of its waist, and it's white, so it's like a white belt, which is a novice in most forms of martial arts. This super huge, mega epic Gigantamax and Fernape is a white belt. We all got to start somewhere, I guess. Every part of this design fires off in at 11, with the cloud with the like swirls in it that replicate the swirls in its armor, and the long flowing mane giving it a flame tail kind of like Charmander, just armoring it up, making it more epic, which is perfect for Gigantamax. Last but not least of the Sinnoh starters is Gigantamax Empoleon. Another design with the elements of the Pokemon at the forefront of its design. Like with Infernape, where it had the fiery cloud, this Empoleon has a giant tsunami wave. And inside the tsunami, there's a bunch of fish Pokemon. We have Wailmer, Wailord, Lovedisk, Staryu, Jellicent, Frillish, Wishy-Washy, Mantine, Mantike, Tentacool, Chinchou, Horsey, all of those in there. It's freaking crazy. It's giving me massive Aquaman vibes, you know, summoning fish to your aid. Giant epic tsunami aside, which, you know, kind of hard to put that aside because it's so cool. But anyway, that aside, the design of Gigantamax Empoleon itself without the wave is also super cool because it's been given this literal trident, evoking that Poseidon inspiration. And it's more puffed up, fluffy, got this big old collar, this giant, like, I don't know what to call it, like crotch spike I guess. But it's all trying to emulate a more lavish French garment to reference its French inspiration with Napoleon. I mean, it's a major part of its name, so of course it would play into it. But I just love how they managed to incorporate French plus Greek plus giant tsunami plus Aquaman, and it all comes together seamlessly. Just an incredibly solid design, and I wish this was real. I love Empoleon. It's one of my favorite Sinnoh starters, and my god, if this thing was real, I would use Empoleon every day of the week. If you've made it this far into the video, hit that like button. Also subscribe and hit that notification bell because it helps support this channel and you can keep up to date with future videos just like this one. Next up, we have the Gen 2 starters. Gen 4 and Gen 2 are pretty synonymous with each other given Heart Gold and Soul Silver came in the same generation as Diamond and Pearl. And starting us off is the grass starter of Gen 2, Gigantamax Meganium. Holy goodness gracious me. Is this so epic? It just gives me the vibes of, you know, Littlefoot from The Land Before Time. That's like original Meganium, and then this Meganium is like its parents. I don't know why, that's just the vibes it gives me. I love the addition of these kind of fiery flowers around its wrists and making the petals of the flower around its neck kind of flow up. It all looks kind of fiery in nature, almost like evoking a grass fire type, though, you know, Gigantamax forms don't change typing. Honestly, Meganium is one of my least favorite starter final evolutions. I really like Chikorita and Bayleaf, but then Meganium, I don't know what it does. It just doesn't do it for me. But if this design existed, I feel like I would like it a little bit more. Next up, we have Gigantamax Typhlosion, and good Lord in heaven, is this the most epic thing I have ever seen? Holy goodness gracious, is this thing cool? It's got a swirling smoky plumage that's trying to evoke a volcano around its neck. Little chunks of flames firing off of it, kind of evoking magma as it's exploding out of a volcano. I truly cannot put into words how much I love this design. There was this mega evolution concept for Typhlosion a while back that had smoke as its primary like design feature, and this evokes that for me heavily, and I loved that mega, so I love this as well. Some little design details I'm just now noticing is that it has these little spikes underneath its arms, coming out of its arms. The tail is more spiky, and even there's spikes coming out of the smoke itself, all trying to emulate the little spiky collar that Typhlosion has. That is one of the reasons we love it so much. I imagine this thing having its own GMAX move like GMAX Volcano or GMAX Eruption. I know Eruption's already moved, but GMAX Volcano, where it explodes all this magma onto the field, hits it with a burn damage, and then leaves kind of like poor visibility after with ash and smoke all around. I know that sounds pretty broken, but you know, Gigantamax forms were already broken as it is, so this is truly one of my favorite Gigantamax designs ever proposed. And finally, for the Johto starters, we have Gigantamax Feraligatr. It's all armored up now, extra spiky, which I love the little spikiness of Feraligatr, so enhancing that makes me love it a lot. And it's all armored, giving me kind of a dreadnought feeling to it, even having this like big old jaw underneath with like, it almost looks like a crown around its head. That's how big the little underbite is. It's just like a King Croc. Like maybe it could have like GMAX King Croc and like it's a giant bite or something like that. I don't know. You can get super flinched by it. This design is so cool and plays up all of my favorite things about Feraligatr. Next, we have Gigantamax Greninja. And unfortunately, it's just Greninja, no Delphox or Chestnut. They only did Greninja, so this is the only thing I'll be showing. I couldn't get this commissioned or anything like that, so I'm limited to what I have here. But this design is top tier. It's giving me Rasen Shuriken from Naruto. It's giving me Summoning Jutsu from Naruto. It's giving me Naruto. I love how it plays into that epic ninja illustration that Naruto gives off, obviously. It's very inspired by that. You know, they have the frog jutsus from Naruto that also play into this as well. It also very much emulates Cinderace's giant fireball and Rillaboom's giant drums, taking an aspect of the original design and enhancing it, you know, i.e. Greninja's Shuriken, Water Shuriken is its signature move, and then you have the fireball from Cinderace and the drums from Rillaboom as well. Still think it's weird that Rillaboom can hide its drums behind its back and just no one sees it. Like, does it have like shrinking technology like a Pokeball? Like, how does that work? I'm very curious. I just read the description and it says Jiraiya, is that you? Which is just perfect. Just the cherry on top of this design. Last but not least, from Pokemon, we have Gigantamax Serperior. Once again, only Serperior, no Emboar or Samurott. Serperior has never looked better. I love this. It just elongates it, makes it this giant snake, kind of emulating a Titanoboa. Gives it this enormous French collar, just like someone just popped that collar to the extreme. Also kind of reminds me of a peeled banana, which I guess plays into the grass type. Kind of. Another thing I love about this thing is that you can see the little Dynamax swirls around its neck. I forgot to mention this, but Meganium has that same thing, and I love that about it too. I also just noticed its red beaming eyes, which is incredibly intimidating. I mean, just imagine this enormous snake looming over you with these terrifying red eyes. I mean, are you kidding? That's so scary. But that just makes me love it more because I just love when I can imagine a story around a Fakemon design. That's something that really makes it for me. PokeJamon also did their own Gigantamax Torterra interpretation, and I wanted to talk about it because look how epic this thing is. It's got the Dynatree on its back, which is just perfect because Torterra has its tree on its back, and the Dynatree is a Dynamaxed tree, so it makes total sense. It adds these craggy cliff faces, almost mountainous cliff faces that surround the Dynatree, almost like protecting it in a way. Torterra gets this like spike beard, which is so cool. It gives me kind of like Viking energy somehow. I mean, the world turtle isn't exactly Viking inspired, but that's what it gives me, so I'm gonna roll with it. It gives me that same vibe as the giant Avalugg from Pokemon Legends Arceus. Now I just want to see a Gigantamax Avalugg that's like a giant mountain iceberg. Has anybody done that? I hope someone's done that. Anyway, that's all the Gigantamax starter forms for this video, so make sure to let me know which one was your favorite. Thank you guys so much for watching, and with that, I will see you guys next time.